So we're in the Two Lanterns Games booth with Brent Povis, and this is a subject that's near and dear to my heart because I grew up hunting morels with my grandfather and father since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. So this is a game about morel mushrooms and mushroom hunting. Give us kind of a snapshot look, and then we're going to talk a little bit about where this game has taken you in terms of maybe some interests in your life afterwards.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, well, the game is, we designed two-player games that play in about 20 to 30 minutes. Our corny little company slogan is, we'd rather have you beg for a rematch than pray for an ending. So they're going to be quick games. You could potentially get in multiple in a session or play a quick game after dinner or something like that. Basically got married in 2008 to my lovely wife, and we ripped through two-player game titles and just decided we wanted more that were in the vein that we liked, which were a lot of strategy packed into a short time frame, but not necessarily abstract and not overwhelmingly strategic. You know, you could have a glass of beer, have a wine, whatever, while you're playing, and it won't impair your quality of play too much, but you need to think about what you're doing. So Morels is set collection and hand management. You work within the confines of a hand limit as you're walking through the woods. The game was designed to feel like a hike in the woods. And you're collecting those mushrooms, the same ones you collected with your father, grandfather. So Morels are in the game, chanterelles are in there, porcini, all the great ones. So you're collecting those, and then you're cooking them up to score points towards winning the game. Part of the strategy of the game is the mushrooms have a dual value. You can either sell them to local aficionados in order to get hiking sticks that allow you to hike deeper into the forest. It's like those aficionados have told you where the hot spots are, right? I've talked to your grandfather, and he's like, well, we're not going to be getting up to the ridge this weekend, but go check out Peacock Ridge, and you'll find, so then, you know, it opens up options for what you can collect. Or you can cook them up to score their points. So you always have to weigh what you want to do with the mushrooms. You only need 2 or more like ones to sell them, but you need 3 or more like ones to cook them. So working within the hand limit, you know, you've got to further the action and figure out what's best to do.
So, which came first, a love or an interest in mushrooms, or the game design idea, or did one sort of influence the other? Have you found yourself getting more interested?
Yeah, that's a great question. It was about the same time, and the game, if anything, I would say the game has gotten me more interested in mushrooms than necessarily vice versa. I always loved mushrooms, but it only had the grocery store varieties. And I had a 33rd birthday last year, and Kayleen decided it was going to be a mushroom-oriented birthday. I'm a big Tolkien fan, so Hobbit, coming of age, 33, we did mushrooms. So I got to try all these mushrooms that I had only heard about, and some of them I hadn't heard about, and it was just mind-blowing. I'm not exactly a foodie, Kayleen is. She's gotten me more into that world, but man, it really opened up new tastes. I was just loving it. So we decided this is great, however, I can't afford, $40 a pound mushrooms every day. So what if we figured out how to go out in the woods and forage for them and find them ourselves? So that kind of launched that whole thing. That was happening as I was devoting myself full-time to game design, and I'd been working on this mechanic that felt like a walk or a conveyor belt. And so when I decided, no, it's going to be set collection, why isn't it a walk in the woods? We love to hike, and what would you be collecting but mushrooms? So once I got the game rolling, obviously I had to do a ton of research because I didn't know much. So that was really fun. I was a bio major back in school, but I never really focused on mycology. So it got me back into biology. I've kind of gotten away from it. So it pulled me back in, spending a lot of time in the woods. We go foraging almost every weekend now. So it's been a whole fun, intertwined adventure.
And it sounds like attending sort of mycology or mycologist-related events. You were saying before that the game's been a hit in mushroom and biology.
It has. I think it's gotten a lot of mushroom players into games and a lot of game players into mushrooms.
A strange bridge to gap there.
It is. It's been really neat. I actually attended a really big foray in eastern PA a couple of weeks ago, and that was the first time that I had debuted it with the mushroom crowd, and they were beside themselves. I mean, a lot of them hadn't played games since they were a little kid, and so they were like, is it like Chutes and Ladders? Is it like, referencing whatever they knew? And I was like, it's not, but, sit down and let me explain it to you. It explains pretty quickly, 5-10 minutes to get you into it. And they just loved it, wrapped their mind around it. They were using the scientific names for the mushrooms, so they weren't cooking fairy rings, they were cooking Marasmius aureatis. But it was a blast. So, I was getting asked now to come and speak at events and send out, press releases to their newsletters. So I think the mushroom community will be all over it.
Now, I would think in terms of world cuisine that you might have some interest from places beyond the U.S. that, for instance, Europe maybe.
Definitely. Actually, when I put it up for pre-order, I was stunned. Like, all of the pre-orders were coming from Spain, France, Germany, Italy. I mean, they were all over it, and they were telling me similar things. Like, we go out foraging all the time. I'd been hoping or looking for mushroom games for years, and now there is one. So yeah, we're hoping. We're pretty new. We only launched the game in May, but we're hoping to line up European publishing partners so that we can really get it out there in Europe. I get a lot of emails. Can I buy your game in Germany? No, you can't. We will ship to you. That adds expense, but hopefully eventually it'll be in those stores over in that neck of the woods.
Now, this is the first title, right?
It is, yep.
you have other titles in the works here?
We do. I think we'll continue. Two Lanterns games, that was intentional. We're designing 2-player games.
Okay.
We feel like, for us anyway, that was a niche that's being a little bit underserved. And we wanted those games, like I said, that are like a 30-minute strategic package, highly replayable, so you can play it again and again. And so I think we're going to keep aiming for that vein.
Can you tease us with any subject matter or anything?
I probably won't do that yet. I find that just for as someone who's creative, if I give away those little hints, then it almost stymies me because I want to feel free to bend and mold. But there are other titles in the works, I assure you.
Excellent.
Haven't hit go on anything yet, but we're hoping to have another release next year.
Well, that gives us a good reason to come back and talk to you again.
Yeah, sounds
from my
good.
perspective,
Yeah, right
I think.
on.
So, Morels is available now.
It
if
is.
people are interested in this game, where can they find it, and how much does it cost?
Yeah, well, we're basically an out-of-house thing. I had no idea how the game would be received. So, we're just out-of-house, basement warehouse type thing.
Okay.
The first print run has gone fast, I'm really happy to say, but we do have some copies left, and it's available at our website, 2 Lanterns Games.
Great. Well, best of luck here at GenCon, and it sounds like you're off to a roaring start, and we can't wait to see what happens next with you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Good talking with you. Appreciate the interview.
No problem.